Hey everyone, and welcome. This is Dan Wanis of the Daily Fantasy Press. I'm going to be joining you guys to break down the 2017 Puerto Rico Open. It's the only contest being held on Draftkings or Fanduel this week. We have the top 50 golfers in the world playing at World Golf Championship in Austin, Texas. It's because of that, obviously, the Puerto Rico Open has a much weaker field. And I'm really looking forward to taking advantage of these lesser known guys that aren't even on our radar on a week to week basis and looking into their statistics, which guys line up well with the course, who's in good recent form, and some bargain buys we can find. So let's get into this. The course is Cocoa Beach Golf and Country Club in Rio Grande, Puerto Rico. It's a par 72 that plays at 7,506 yards. And last year's defending champion was Tony Finau, who is not in the field this week due to him playing at WGC in Austin. So we're without the defending champ. Let's look at some other course notes and key statistics here. Now we have 4 par 5s, and it's important to note that the par 5s are where the scoring is done. With that being said, these guys on tour, any of them can score on the par 5s. I don't want to wait the par 5s because of that. In my key metrics this week, I'm going to be looking at the par 4s and the long par 3s on this course. The par 3s average almost 210 yards, similar to what we saw last week at Bay Hill. And the par 4s, the most difficult, play really long. So players are going to have really long approach shots from well over 225 yards going into the green. And that's why I think par 4 scoring is going to be really important this week. Now, 13 of the 18 holes have water that either line the fairway or the green. And if you guys haven't looked at a course map, I really encourage you guys to check it out. It's got so much water that extends from tee to green on some holes, and I don't want, this isn't having me emphasize that driving accuracy is one of the key metrics this week. I think it's important to look at and make sure the golfers you're looking at are accurate off the tee, but not to the point where it's just vital to hit the fairway. You can still miss the fairway as long as it's not a bad miss. Another interesting note this week is the Paspalum greens. This is something we don't see on tour outside of this event in the last 4 or 5 years. In 2012 at the PGA Championship in South Carolina, they had these Paspalum greens. And to give you guys a little background on what type of greens these are, they're really common along coastal courses where they either have a sea breeze with the salt water off the ocean, or even water the greens, a course with some water that has salt in it. So they drain really well. Players have much more control with their approach shots, and the ball really grips when landing on the green. So I think this week guys are going to be able to pin hunt for those long approach shots that they're able to reach. And lastly here, wind could be a factor and definitely has been in the past. So I'm going to dive into weather here in a bit, and that's going to be something we have to just monitor as the week goes on. So let's look at the key statistics. First off, strokes gained tee to green. We've been looking at this for the past few weeks, tournaments, and we're going to be eyeing it up once again. As I said, with the long par 3s, par 4s, I think proximity from 200 to 225 yards is really going to be important this week. And that leads to the par 4 scoring. Since the par 4s are the toughest holes, I want my golfers to have birdie opportunities on these par 4s and really gain a leg up on the competition. So birdie or better percentage with the scoring that can happen in this tournament, assuming the wind doesn't become too much of a factor, that's going to be important. And lastly, greens and regulation. So let's move on to the weather here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday currently are showing a chance of rain. Right now, it's nothing that looks to be a determining factor in tee times. That could all change by Wednesday night, Thursday morning. We're going to want to continue monitoring that as the week goes on. We'll update our Twitter with any news we receive. Something to note, my buddy played in the qualifier today in Puerto Rico, and he let me know that the winds in the morning were much calmer and picked up as the day went on. So if we're seeing a day that's really going to have some gusting winds, that could potentially play a factor for which guys you want to target for tee times. And with the new FanDuel format, that's something that could be in play this week. So like I said, we're going to have to wait on all this. Right now, I don't see anything as something to wait as one tee time being more favorable than the other. So we'll just see how it plays out and update you guys as the week goes on. So let's look here at FanDuel. Our first core play of the week is Luke List. He's coming in at 8,600 on FanDuel. His tee to green is what really sticks out, and also his approach from 200 to 225 yards. He ranks 20th in tee to green and 28th in his approach from 200 plus. Now, in a weak field like this, those are some outstanding stats that match up well with the course. He's had previous successful course history here. He had a T15 last year in Puerto Rico, and he seems to always play really well in weak fields. And his price on FanDuel compared to Draftkings, I mean, that's quite the bargain you can get for this tournament. He's considered almost an elite golfer. So Luke Liss, I love the way how far he hits the ball, and he's also accurate at the same time. So Luke Liss definitely gonna be in the core plays this week. Moving on, we have Wesley Bryan. He's priced at 8,900, and here's our first misprice of the week that we're identifying on FanDuel. He's in great recent form. He had back-to-back T4 finishes just a few weeks ago. He checks the box in driving accuracy, driving distance, par 4 scoring, and bogey avoidance. And his par 4 scoring is second best in the field. So that's something I'm really targeting this week. I want to make sure my guys have that par 4 scoring ability. And something to note with Wesley is he has not played in Puerto Rico. So just be cautious with that when rostering him. I think he's such a good play and good recent form that I love him this week at that price on FanDuel. Now, another mispricing we have on FanDuel is Brandon Hagee coming in at 5,400. He finished 16th in 2015 in this tournament. That was a year where we had wind. So if the conditions are looking like it's going to be windy, I'm going to want to find some guys that I know can play in the wind, had success in 2015, but also have the key metrics that match up. Now, he's averaging 311 yards off the tee, which he ranks 30th in strokes gained off the tee. Now, a year ago, he was averaging almost 320 yards. So What this tells me is his driving accuracy has improved. So he may have had a driver that was shortened to improve his accuracy, give up a little distance, but he's still coming in at top 10 players in driving distance off the tee. So I like where he's at with his driving, his accuracy. He's got great par 4 and 5 scoring, and he's really solid with bogey avoidance. So at 5,400, I mean, he really pops off the page at me, and I think he's a great play this week. Moving on to the dark horse on FanDuel of the week. It's Richie Rowensky coming in at 4,600. He is a guy that's had some success this year. He's above the field in driving accuracy, scrambling, and once again, par 4 scoring. So that's what I really like in Richie. He's almost minimum price on FanDuel. So all you're asking for this guy is make the cut, and he's exceeding value. And another note here is he trains in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and training just off the ocean, he knows how to play in the wind. This is his first event in Puerto Rico, so he didn't play in 2015 to see how he performed in that weather, but I really like him this week at that price. Now moving on to DraftKings. We got the bearded monster here, Graham DeLaet. Man, I wish he still had that beard going, but he's been playing well lately. He's coming in at 10,600. He's finished T11, T18, and 9th in his last 3 trips to Puerto Rico. He ranks 21st in approach from 225 yards to 250, and he ranks 14th strokes gained off the tee. And he's had a good year this year, and a guy where his putter is not the best. I really like his chances with the Paspalum greens this week. I don't think even the best putters are going to have much of an advantage here. It's going to be the long hitters, and this is exactly what Graham DeLaet is. So this is a guy I really like, and with the way this year is going, Canadians have just been crushing. So it'd only be fitting this guy takes on the Puerto Rico Open and adds to the Canucks' success. So moving on, another DraftKings core play of the week, Alex Cheka, coming in at 8,900. He won this event in 2015 in the wind, and finished 11th last year. So he's got good course history. This guy is just such a steady, solid player. He ranks 20th in approach from 200 and 225 yards. He's solid off the tee, solid scrambling around the green. So if the weather picks up, the wind, the rain, I like a guy that can be consistent, hit the fairways, hit the green, give him some chances at birdie. So Alex Cheka, he's coming in and checks all those boxes. Now lastly, JT Poston, he's priced at 8,600, and he's my GPP play of the week on DraftKings. He's coming in with really good recent form, finishes in the top 25 at Valspar, Honda, and also Genesis. He's a par 4 scoring beast. He's first in the field ahead of Wesley Bryan and ranks 57th in birdie or better percentage. Now, I think this is a guy that's going to come in at low ownership, but he's got the upside to win with that par 4 scoring. So in that price range around 8,600, you have quite a few guys. I think he could be one that gets overlooked. Now, we really appreciate all you guys watching this, contributing to us on Twitter. Our Twitter is Daily Fantasy Press. If you guys enjoy watching these videos, if you could give us a thumbs up on YouTube, we'd really appreciate it. If you guys have any suggestions for us or comments, leave that in the comment section or send us a tweet. And be sure to look at our website. We'll be posting our article for DraftKings and FanDuel additional plays of the week on Tuesday afternoon. So once again, we thank you guys for listening and the continued support, and wish you guys the best of luck.